All like this, they think this is just individual stones that were well fitted in, but a lot of these have been cut and shaped.
Yes, they have. They've been hand trimmed so that they'll fit in there, but give you that nice natural look.
Now, in a wall like this, every stone, every edge has been shaped in order to get that real tight joint in it.
And in most cases, it's been split from a lot larger stone.
Right. When I cut stone, I use this 14-inch diamond blade on my cutoff saw, or I use my grinder with a 4-inch diamond blade on it.
And that's good for reducing the stone size, but you're going to get a sawn face, so if you're not looking for that sawn face, again, your hand tools come into play at that point.
All right, well, how do we get started with hand tools?
Well, quite often the homeowner is going to have rocks available that he wants to utilize. You might have something like this, which does not have a usable face as it is. It also is too large, too heavy for him to comfortably use. So at that point, we would attempt to make this into two pieces. We would use this machine right here, which is a rotary hammer drill with a carbide tip drill bit. And this is a gauge that we use to preset the depth of the hole that we're going to drill. For a stone this size, I'm going to drill my holes about every 4 inches apart. Anytime that you're cutting or drilling stone, it's imperative that you wear your safety glasses. These are the tools that we're going to use to actually break the rock now. They're called wedges and shims, and this is of course the wedge. These are your shims. When you place them in the hole like this, you always make sure that your ears of your shims are pointed in the direction that you want the break to happen. So you put them in snugly.
Now you're going to use this little hammer to break that rock.
I am, Roger, and the reason why is because with most stoneworking, it's a question of patience. And if you use too heavy of a hammer, you put so much pressure on an individual hole that it will actually blow the top surface of the hole right out, and you lose your push.
All right, how do we get started?
So you start with number one, and it's just a light tap.
So you're just taking your time and driving those slowly down.
I am. And what you're trying to do is you're trying to keep the same tension on every set so that the push is equal on all of them.
And you can feel if one's tighter than another.
Right, and you can hear it too. Now you listen to these.
Oh, that one's definitely different.
It's tightening up a lot more. It's the harder stone there, and it's not crushing so much. So this one we won't be hitting nearly as hard as we will these. Start to hear a different ring to them. Like that one, you got that little vibration, you hear it? That one's got it now.
Stone's not liking this, huh?
No, she's talking back. Here we go again.
I heard a crack then. There it goes. I
See
see it
the
now.
lines?
Yep.
And it's going this way. It's following some natural flaws in that stone. You hear it still snicking all its own as it's sitting there.
Oh, Randy, this little piece flaked off, but we didn't really get a good split on that, huh?
No, we've got to. We can still make this a usable rock, but it's going to be more drilling. It's going to be a lot more handwork. At this point, I would probably cut my losses on this one and go to a different stone.
Let's try another one.
Now we're getting a good crack line all the way across.
Almost bottomed out there. Ah, there we go.
That's exactly the way wedges and shims are supposed to work.
Say you had a smaller stone like this that you needed to cut off just a little bit so it would fit right into a wall. How would you cut that?
Well, for this I'd use a tool called a hand tracer. As you can see, it's beveled, it comes to a somewhat sharp edge. And after I establish where I want to make my cut, I take my tracer, hold it straight up and down, and start pitching a line across it. And that does two things. It starts weakening the stone, so it's going to break on the plane that you want it to break. And it's also going to start making a nice flat place for your carbide to set, so that you're not at risk of cracking your carbide then by having too much pressure on just one spot on the carbide.
Patience.
Always patience.
And I noticed you're not trying to overhit it either.
Nope, you don't want to blow it out or make it crack somewhere where there might be a weak spot in the stone. You're always making that softer spot.
There you go, look at that. Perfect. That'll fit in my wall just the way I want.
In your wall. Now for this stone, I'm going to use a slightly bigger tool. It's called a stone buster. As you can see, it has the same edge that the tracer did, but it's a much heavier duty tool.
Okay.
You can break bigger stones with it. It's still a one-person operation. And you treat it the same way. You pick your line, and then you start hitting it. When you get real good, you'll just swing it. I'm not that good yet.
Yet? Allows you to really hammer on that, huh?
Well, it does, but there again, you don't want to lose track of the fact that you don't want to overwork your tool or your stone.
Nice. Look at that. Now I can use that on my wall for sure.
And with a little trimming, you can square it up. You got two good faces out of one stone.
All right, I got another stone for you. This one I don't need split, I need it trimmed. You look at the angle here, I need that taken off so it'll fit nice and flat in my wall. How would you do that?
Well, for that, I would use this tool right here. It's called a hand set. You can see that it's flat, it's carbide like the others, but you place it on the stone, hold on a little bit of an angle, and you again pitch your line right across.
So you're not trying to take the whole chunk at once?
Not trying to take it off all at once, because you at more risk of doing more damage to the stone than you want. So you just kind of work it back a little bit to a time. Kind of check it every little while to see where you're coming. When you get to the end, sometimes it's good to tip your stone up, and you don't really need to break it, but you get a line in there, so it'll break more to that line.
Beautiful. Now that's perfect, because I can just set it into the wall just like that, and I got the face I wanted right there.
Right.
Now sometimes we get a stone like this, it has a great face on it, but it's not sitting well on the stone underneath it.
Because of that protrusion right there that needs to come off. In that case, we would use this tool, which is called a hand point. Again, it's carbide tipped. It's the strongest tool made. You place it and just start working those high spots right out of there.
So again, you're chipping a little at a time.
Little at a time. See how you're taking out pieces? Now sometimes you hit it straight up and down even. Once you start getting it down to close to where you want it to be, and you're worried about blowing out another big chunk, it's when you go to this bushing hammer, which is a hand point, but as you can see, it's got a coarse side and it's got a fine side. So depending on the finish you want, in this case, you're not leaving an exposed look because it's going to be the bottom. So you just take this and you just keep bringing it right down and blend it right in. I think we're about down to the level you want to be, so let's try it and see.
Let me take a look. Yeah, that sits pretty good now. Thank you so much, Randy. You've taught me that with a few simple hand tools, you can cut and shape almost any stone.